Hello my brothers and sisters of the Order, welcome back to the Order. I am Celtic Templar, and welcome back to another Independence Month, and today, y'all, we are actually talking about the Boston Massacre. Now, maybe people may have actually heard the story of the Boston Massacre, but there are a lot of people who don't know how it all truly started. In fact, when we hear the term of the Boston Massacre, all we think about is the 5 colonists that died. And in such, we have to understand the true history before it, and where it began and how it started. So, pretty much, how did it really start? Well, when we take a look at it, the Boston Massacre was stated to have taken place on March 5th of 1770, in which the Boston Massacre was said to have been the result of a mass mob in anger against the British government in the city of Boston. It was said that this had been caused by the Townshend Act, which imposed duties on British china, glass, lead paint, paper, tea, and as well that which were imported to the colonies, meaning it became a lot harder to actually, well, get your hands on certain supplies. Kind of sounds familiar. But as well, it was also the cause of the occupation in Boston. This was actually a massive mandate because of the fact is there were more riots because most of the people were being let off of work because they didn't have anywhere to get their supplies. And the fact is, many merchants were losing money because of the government. Oh man, if only our government today could understand the problem of what they are causing now. However, the spark that actually caused it the most would actually be the death of a young child at the age of 11, known as Christopher Cedar, who of which was actually said to have been killed by a, well, Ebenezer Richardson. And in such, he himself was actually attacked by the mob, led by none other than Samuel Adams. And in such, it's actually said that Ebenezer Richardson was actually pardoned because of the fact is, he fired in self-defense into the wild mob who were attacking his home. Which, if you think about it, kinda is self-explained. If you're being attacked, you gotta fire back. See what I did there? But, now, when we also see this in history, we also have to understand this also would lead to massive problems because of Samuel Adams. Which you'll understand why. However, it all only increased with the ever-increasing taxation. The people of Boston started to riot in the streets, making their way toward the Boston Custom House at the time, and of which there was only one person actually guarding it. It stated that this was where they kept the money and such for the said areas. And in such, this was actually guarded by none other than a man known as Hugh White, a young soldier who in which actually first enlisted in the army. However, this story is where it gets very messed up. For it's actually stated as soon as the rioters in Boston had started to make their way towards the custom house, it's actually stated that Hugh White accidentally stabbed a man in self-defense with his bayonet, which, at the time, self-defense could actually be explained to this. It stated that the man ended up running, only to end up calling for help. It's actually stated that these rioters actually started to charge after him, with then a group of soldiers later making their way around the corners. They demanded that the Bostonians actually cease their rebel and as well return to their homes. The Bostonians did not listen, and in such those rioters ended up throwing snowballs, glass, or as well even ice, and as well even stones at the British soldiers, and even tried to club a couple of them. It's actually stated that in self-defense, the British forces ended up opening fire at Bostonian civilians. It's stated that at least 5 colonists had died in the process. Crispus Attucks, Patrick Carr, Samuel Gray, Samuel Maverick, and James Caldwell. And as well, 3 more others were actually injured. Later it was stated in the court hearing that the soldiers were found innocent, led by none other than John Adams, who of which actually stated in the result that these men were acting in self-defense against a violent mob, who in which were attacking innocent people that had nothing to do with this. And yes, this mob were actually known to act out in something of anger, and in such they were most likely arrested, and as well charged with the form of, well, causing unrest. So the British subjects actually thought it'd be best to keep them down. However, some people did not think otherwise. And that would be none other than Samuel Adams, who of which would then actually lead into the Boston Tea Party, stating on how this would actually have been the reason behind it. So, technically, the family members, both John Adams and Samuel Adams, really despised each other on this matter. In fact, John Adams even was stated to have complained about his own family member, stating that Samuel Adams acted in violence and as well with a rash tongue rather than his thoughts, which Samuel Adams was known to have done a lot. And as OL has gotten him pretty much his own ass kicked a lot. So, what was this, you might ask? Was this a self-defense, or was this a massacre? Well, no, it was not a massacre. It was mostly in self-defense. And in fact, the British soldiers as well even stated that they did not want to fire, but they had no other choice, seeing as though they were being attacked. Kind of like how we can understand how an incident happened in the Lexington and Concord incident, or in this case, the Lexington incident, when somebody accidentally fired off a shot, which no one knows who it was. However, in this case with the Boston Massacre, it was not exactly a massacre. It was mainly an act of self-defense, in which, in order to stop somebody from attacking them. And as well, the majority of that mob were a small group who in which started a massive problem for no reason, just because they felt that they were being cheated out. Now, as a worker myself, I can understand that we do need money to keep up our lives, but what they did was a little far. And as such, it even stated that they might have been planning to steal that money, in which back then bank currency was a lot different, meaning the everyday American dollar was non-existent, and our modern banks today are not like what they were back then. If somebody stole your money, you could not get it back. So, that's the major problem. But, pretty much today, we understand that this is probably the major footsteps of that led to the American Revolution. And as such, this is actually where it just got worse and worse for the colonists. Because then, there became the Stamp Act and the Tea Act, and even more to come. But anyways, guys, hopefully you liked this video, like and subscribe for more. If any of y'all have any ideas for another Independence Month video, please let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to get right to it as soon as possible. Anyways, guys, it's been Templar. Hope to see y'all in the next one. Have a great day, and happy Independence Day.